Hello, and welcome back to the talk no one talks about, where I bring you bits and pieces of all the uncomfortable conversations you don't get anywhere else. As always, I will not be having these conversations alone. Of course, it takes two to talk. I'll always have here with me people with lived personal experiences and or professionals. Speaking of professionals, today I have with me the very
Augusta, Barrister Augusta.
barrister. I'm here to be. We're all here to be schooled. We're going to talk laws. We're going to talk legal rights. We're going to talk discrimination.
Okay.
What? I don't know. I act this way around barristers. Don't mind me. I think we all should. They do a lot of reading and researching, and you have like all the informations that we need, right? So the purpose of this conversation is to educate people, is to educate like the general public. So you're going to help me break down these informations you'll be giving out today, so much that the average Nigerian can absorb it, so much that the person who does not know, who didn't even go to school, can watch it and say, oh, this thing affects me like this affects my brother like this affects my sister like this, right? So that's what we are going to
So
do.
I should speak pidgin where I need to
Please speak pidgin when you want to speak pidgin. I beg you, speak pidgin when you want to speak pidgin.
All right,
Speak,
that's fine.
if you speak your language, translate it. If you speak
Okay,
your
no
language,
problem.
translate it. Yes. So for my first question, I want to ask you, how do laws discriminate specifically against queer people in Nigeria, and what are some of these laws that you can cite, like example of these laws that you can cite, especially in like different regions, how different they are or how similar these laws are, and then the general governing law. Yes.
Okay, so in the Nigerian context,
Yes.
I think the most known law is the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, where which everyone calls the SSMPA.
PA, yeah.
And then there's the penal code and the criminal code, which one applies to the north and the other applies to the south. They both have laws against
So which one applies to the
sodomy.
north? Which one applies to the south?
Okay, so the criminal code the penal code applies to the north, the criminal code applies to the south.
Okay.
But they have similar provisions.
Okay.
Okay, and so they both have laws against or sections that criminalize sodomy, which is targeted at gay men particularly, because its definition as at that time, or which it still carries, is having unnatural sex, which unnatural sex to them was a man having anal sex with another man. So it's a law that targets gay men particularly.
Okay.
I said the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, which is the one that was passed in 2014 by Goodluck Jonathan's administration.
Yeah.
And why that one just caused a whole lot of outrage in Nigeria. Like, quite okay, what that law is about, which many people don't even know, it's not that it criminalized gayness. No, it doesn't actually criminalize gayness. It says that from the name, same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
So you can't have same-sex marriages in Nigeria. But it also has provisions within this law that criminalizes organizations who advocate for the rights of queer people. Yeah, so NGOs that are carrying out work around that, the law criminalizes their activities. It also has provisions that has tried to look at the freedom of expression, freedom of assembly of anything that has to do with queerness or the LGBTQI plus in Nigeria. So, and it has like some of these provisions. So people didn't really understand what that law was about. What was out there was, if you are caught having gay sex or whatever, you go to jail for 14 years. It doesn't allow civil union, it doesn't allow marriages, it doesn't recognize any of that. Even if you go to a jurisdiction where same-sex marriage is allowed, and you come back to Nigeria, you can't register that marriage because it's not recognized here. It's only going to be recognized in that foreign jurisdiction for same-sex. So that law, and well, we don't have like other laws that are prominent out there. If okay, there's one. I think in northern Nigeria, we know that yes, the Sharia laws generally are against homosexuality. I know one in particular that I came across, which is in Borno State. Something about is it prostitution and lesbian, a law against prostitution and lesbianism and something like that. Yeah, which criminalizes the act. So if you're caught in the act, depending on whether you're Muslim or if you're Christian, yeah, so the punishments
Are different.
Yeah, are different.
So what happens when you're a Christian caught in the act?
Yeah, so you can get the death penalty.
Death penalty. So what happens when you're a Muslim?
Oh, you can get caning.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So so it's there. But people, maybe it's because it's not out there. Like people's experiences are not being put out there. But that law exists there. I don't know who has actually been criminalized with that law. And I think the same goes for even the SSMPA. While it's out there, what it has done is it's actually has incited violence against queer persons. It went up, like the margin of things we hear about violence being perpetrated against queer persons went so high. There are reports here, violations reports all over Nigeria, and people were even murdered. People were attacked, different stuff. Personally, I've been called into cases at the police station that involves neighbors attacking because they see queer people or people who they perceive
they feel
to
like
be going into that place and be like, oh, we don't need this kind of people in our neighborhood, and then you bring other people and start throwing stones and attack them. So I've had to go to the police station on a few occasions like that, to try to see and just to ensure that while yes there is a law that says something, but these people are not actually in violation of such a law. And most times what I find from my experience is they're not even interested in pursuing what the letters of that law says. You just come in there,
their own personal bias.
And you just pay some money. I've been in a situation where while I'm inside talking about doing my lawyer work and trying to see how these guys haven't really done, these are the people that have done, and then they were outside settling, like they paid some money and they just came and told me, okay, I should not worry, that everything is sorted. I'm like, so why did you guys call me here? Like, if you're still going to be scared, you didn't do anything wrong, so you end up paying 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 naira to do that. You haven't done anything wrong. So most times they're not interested, and people know. Some of them have used it, and that's why we have the incidents of this keto stuff happening everywhere. People have seen it like a cash cow. Someone who is queer or queer presenting or whatever, and then so it's just happening a lot. So I know we're just talking about some of the laws that exist, and some of the things. So prominently is the SSMPA, and then we also have maybe we're talking about just Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Or around. So, and then even though not laws, but because of some of these laws, right? You have people carry out actions or things. They do things to people who they perceive to be queer or who are really queer. Like when you go to the hospital, you face some level of discrimination. So it's not in the law, but it's happening. So it's a discriminatory practice. And so because of that, some people shy away from when they go for HIV treatment or
they withhold information, and so they don't get like full treatment.
They don't get to express themselves to or give full information out there because of how they are being treated. And sometimes some will shy away. Some would hear of another person's experience and will not want to go through all that. But luckily there are some NGOs that are providing this medical healthcare. So they're helping them, but not everyone is lucky to assess them. So some are still facing those things there. We still have discriminatory practices in employment. where queer people
True.
or people who are perceived to be queer can't get employment because of
How
how
they are
their
presented.
real or perceived sexual
Yeah.
orientation.
Yes.
There's discriminatory practices in housing where landlords will not want to rent their houses to people who have, to people because of their real or perceived sexual orientation. So it's happening. These are real things happening. There's no law that has actually said do not rent to
Yeah.
this, but
But then
these
people just do that.
practices are actually
Yes.
happening. So I think those are some of the few that I can
And
mention
it's
from this.
you're
Yeah.
so you're such an in detail talker. I love it. Because I was going to ask you that, like, what's the impact of this law, like, in the society, like, and on the lives of these people? And you just I was going to ask, like, socially, economically,
Oh
right,
yeah.
and health wise, but like
Yeah.
you just went ahead to touch
Oh
it.
yeah, so if you're talking about impact, yeah, okay, quite okay. Yes, the impact, one major impact which we need to have more conversations about is the mental health challenge that comes with these discriminatory practices that happen
Yeah.
to queer people. Because the law is already there against them, and they have people, they can't find housing, they can't find jobs, they can't access safe medical care. So these are some of the impacts. So joblessness, poverty, and most times it leads some into drug use or crime.
Yes.
Like when I was talking about keto, you would think that it
It's
is
just heterosexual
people,
people.
yes, out there doing that. No, even queer people have found it as an avenue,
To partner with other
yes,
people.
to take care of themselves.
Wow.
If you, that's why when things are happening, and they're always talking about crime, punishment, looking at the philosophy of things,
Yeah.
and you'll be wondering, how did someone get to where they are? So if we examine the keto incidences, you find that queer people are behind it. Sometimes they're not partnering with heterosexual.
Sometimes
No,
they're doing it on
they
their
are doing it
own.
on their own. Mind you, there are people who are passing. You know, when they say someone is queer but is passing, you're
Yeah.
not
Yes.
presenting,
Yes.
you're not
You just
wearing the
look like it.
tats, you're not
Yeah.
wearing the stuff, you're
Yeah.
just,
You're just there.
yeah. I mean, queer people are humans.
Yes.
It's just the same way that someone who is heterosexual can have septum piercing, can
Yes.
have the
Yes.
tats, can do whatever they want to do. So yeah, so there are queer people that are passing. So most times that's how some of these keto things happen. Like I'm the, like, a co-chairperson for the Strategic Advocacy Network Nigeria. I think yeah, Grace is also a part of it, and she was my co-chair for a while. And I've had situations where people call me, and I notice, like, maybe they call me from Delta. I don't know why it's always from Delta. I don't know why, but yeah, and then receiving complaints of keto, someone has keto, they did this, and some from Lagos, and you discover that, oh, the person even doing it, they tell you the person doing it is known, the person is one chief, but the chief is also, he's also a community person, and he's doing this, but because he has connections, he has power, all of this, they get away with it.
I think
You know?
it reminds me of something that
Yeah.
happened. Was it not Calabar
Okay.
or in Uyo? I think where a politician had, I don't have so much information on it, but then he started to have that rise up and talk a lot very loudly about homosexuality and queerness, and he was closeted queer, and like the community in the said state, I can't remember right now if it's Calabar or you, but I think it's one of them.
Okay.
Community in the said state was like, we know you, we know the men that you sleep with, we used to have orgies and gay like open gay sex, and suddenly you are online because you're a politician, you want attention or whatever, and you're out there taking advantage of the public opinion and the laws, the discriminatory laws that exist, right? And you're taking advantage of all of this, and then just pushing hate to queer people.
Yeah, so from my years of experience with dealing with queer issues from a legal perspective, I've also had to go through a lot of trainings and discover people have internalized homophobia.
Homophobias.
Like, some people will think that, oh, this person, why are you like this, and you're going with all your chest that you want to expose this person. Calm down and understand. There are some people, the things that they say, the things that they do come from somewhere.
A place of self-hate.
A place of self-hate.
Yeah.
That's why if you examine and look closely, and because of for some people who have gotten to know people that are championing anti-LGBT stuff around, you find that they have people that they are able to be their true authentic selves with, that know them, but they can't be that out there because of how society perceives them to be.
That's
you have
so
to be a
true.
politician. You cannot be found to be on gay issues or somebody. No, it comes from within. If you are bold enough, if you are confident and you know who you truly are, you can still go out and be that politician and be your true authentic self. Will you face challenges? Yes, you will. Will people talk even when you don't even
without
even without that, people will still do, people will carry
being
propaganda
a politician
and
actually
stuff.
gives you like security and
So
support.
So you will still find people. So a lot of people are just closeted and they prefer to bash and talk about all these things and do whatnot. But it's still and it's still, for me, that is still a challenge, or what we're talking about when we're talking about mental health issues and all of that. Yeah, it covers them too. It's because of the society that we live in. When they go abroad in saner climes where it's at least the laws are a bit more freer and people can be their true selves, they are themselves. They are themselves. They are happier. They go out. They do the things that they need to do. But once they come back here, they have to. They don't need to lose guard anymore.
They keep up an appearance.
Yes, keep up an appearance.
All right. So I want to ask you, can you discuss any recent legal developments, right, that tackles like the challenges that queer individuals and communities face, like regarding these laws?
Okay, so in Nigeria, legislative wise, there hasn't been any improvement. The SSMPA still stands. It's still the law. States have also, in Nigeria, once there's a federal legislation, the states will also decide to take those laws and make it as state laws. So it's not
True.
the whole jurisdiction. So we still have some states who also passed, the State House of Assemblies who also passed the SSMPA. In the states like Lagos State, Benue State, and I think some other states, did that. So those laws still stand. Now, where is there any improvement? Like, and in fact, before I even talk about improvement, I need you to know that while these laws exist, they're highly flawed.
Yes.
Like, they exist, but they are unable to use them the way that they meant it to be used. And that is because, to me, and maybe to some other people, it's because they didn't do enough digging and enough planning and enough to come to put into that law. That law was just a copy and paste somewhere, just put it, I think somewhere from Singapore or somewhere. One of these Asian countries, because Africa, Asia, and Middle East are areas that these laws are strongly existing, and even up to death penalties exist for queer persons. So they just went and got it and just hurriedly put it out there. All these things had to even do with what America's interest in Nigeria. Queer people existed before Obama became president. Then you suddenly say Obama wants to bring gay people into Nigeria.
I feel like, personally, I just feel like bigotry in itself, in its entirety, is just stupid. It's like, it always makes no sense. You cannot rationally argue these things, right? And that's why these laws don't make sense, right? That's why when you look at them like factually, when we want to talk about theories and discuss like proper ideologies, you find them wanting, you find them going for people that they don't even intend to target, like themselves, right? Let's talk SSMPA, discriminating against sex, like anal sex and certain sex types, right? Now you look at it's very insane, because you don't police what heterosexuals have in the bedroom. They have that too. There are straight men who like anal sex, who get. So like, it makes, like, my point is just following up from what you said. It just makes no sense. It never makes sense. And it's the same thing with every oppressive law, whether it's whether it's targeted at gay people, whether it's targeted at women, whether it's targeted, it just makes no sense.
So what I was just trying to say was because some of those don't existed. So like the famous Egbeda 56 or 57, that's when James Brown became.
Yeah.
They didn't cut me.
They didn't cut me, people.
So they wanted to test that law then. In fact, when they said they caught them having a gay party and it was so strong, the media is part of the problem.
Yes, the media is.
Because the framing of the headline you see first is what from you don't need to read what they've written down there. You already have an opinion. Oh, it's the gay people, they must go to jail for 10 years. But when people that were involved in this case
start speaking out,
could see the merit and could see that this was just a rubbish. It just ended up exposing this
law for to harassment.
It was more like that was how some people came out to their families or to the rest of Nigeria, right? But they didn't have the elements to actually successfully
execute it.
Yes, this case.
Yeah.
And that's why every time they come to court, nothing happened, they've adjourned. Gradually, the news was not coming in anymore because there was nothing juicy to suck out of it.
Yes.
So, and they couldn't. And the court had to strike that out. Because how do you prove the element of that? And that's why before a law is made, there has to be a lot of consultation. People have to sit down.
We are not going to teach the lawmakers how to get us, how to get people.
They know, but that's why I'm telling you the reality of it is not feasible.
Yeah.
Not just in Nigeria, in any of these other countries. Unless when you have, they just go ahead and then you find that you can't prove it, but all you know is that, you look gay.
Yeah.
To harass you, arrest you, lock you in police station, but you're not there because there's a law that says you are gay. They're holding you there for wanting. In the process of doing all of that, they might find you wanting for one or two other violations.
Yes, and then they find something to milk out of you.
Yeah, so you've just been there, you know that you're facing all of this because of sexual orientation, whether real or perceived, right? So the problem is there's no advancement, in that law, but the matter has sections of the SSNPA have been challenged because they tried to challenge the law as a whole. They kept getting thrown out because it's a legislation, it's usually very difficult.
Yeah.
So they started looking at sections, taking it one by one, looking at freedom of expression, how you manage freedom of expression, high court. I think there was there's a judgment actually that actually says yes, that law permits that is the freedom of expression, right? It's there. I don't really want to
go into
details because I think there's still strategy around that. I know this podcast is going to be out there, so I don't really get into
let's not do that.
So yes, it's been challenged bit by bit, so this way it can be broken down. So there's no you can't go and formulate anything and come. That law is already there, so if they're going to break it down, we break it down. So I was saying, so if we can actually break this down and the rest of Nigeria can actually have an understanding, because I know that there's always this perception survey that is done by the Initiative for Equal Rights, they always have like a yearly perception on LGBT rights that we do, like a survey. So I've followed it for a while, and I've seen that during the time when the law was passed, people had strong opinions, against queer people, but subsequently, opinions have changed, social perceptions have changed, things are adjusting. So in a way, I think that some people are beginning to understand some of these things. People are there's work to help families, to help people generally to see and understand the issues that come with discrimination against queer people. So the social perception, the last time I checked, it was 20, but these things don't stay that way. Several factors to make it go up or come down. So progress on the law, not really, but I think with some of these things that you do, like the social perception, it helps one to actually gauge how people are feeling about queer people. And I think if you look at it now, even some people are no longer, some not all, ashamed, to relate with queer people, or people who are presenting, quite presenting. You know, some people are, we need to look that the gay people are not the problem.
Yeah.
Some people already understand that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't give jobs to someone, a job to someone because the person is queer presenting or things like that. But you could be passing over a very brilliant and intelligent person that could take your
Yes, they'll get the job done.
Yeah. It's not about how they look. You've had
It's about what people bring to the
I
table.
don't know if you guys use slur words here, but you have. I wouldn't do that though. You have people who are not queer and all of that, but they still mess up so much.
No.
You pick that over the other person just because of how they look. No, do I think being queer present, like I said, sometimes some people think that how someone looks it's what they are and who they represent or what they should be. No, I think identity, how someone looks, it's just how they feel, how to express themselves.
How
that
they express
expression.
themselves,
It doesn't mean that is what they are. If you want to, whether they are brilliant or intelligent or capable of doing what you need to do. Yeah.
So thank you very much. This has been very educating. So, like, very briefly, because we are way out of time, and thank you again. This has been very educating and enlightening. I have a very small question, if you'd give me very briefly. In what ways can you say that allies, organizations, policymakers, advocates, and like everybody who has who pushes for the fairness and equality, right? In what ways do you think that these people or these different spaces can come together, right, to fight against these laws that discriminate against the livelihood of queer people?
Okay, so simply put, two things: education, collaboration. Because you mentioned a group of people, and the thing that can bring them together is creating avenues or spaces, safe spaces where there's cross learning for them to understand how their advocacy can be taken to grassroots, to the top, to across the board, and collaboration. You should be willing to collaborate on this because strategies are different. So in the way that the advocacy to take to policymakers might differ from how you need to take the advocacy to society in general or the hospitals or the educational system. So collaboration will be able to help with that because that will form a stronger strategy on how to advocate on these issues, and I think that will go a long way. That's somewhere just.
You heard it. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for today. This has been very barristarish.
Really?
Yes, and we hope to get other barristarish sessions with you.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of today's episode. I'll see you again some other time, but I want to also hear from you. I've been begging you, please speak back to me. Tell me what you think, what your opinions are, how you think that laws like this affect and embolden homophobic people who go against and hurt people indiscriminately, like just anyhow, just because of their personal bias or because of how they feel or because of what they hope to gain from it. And then I want to hear from you. What else do you think you would have me talk about? What would you like to hear me talk about? Just give me the topic. I will find the experts. I'll find the people with lived experiences and we will discuss it for you. Thank you and see you next time. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.